Hello everybody again. Time yet again for another episode of What's in the Box. And this evening I'm going to be doing something special. At least I see it that way. We're about to look at a kit that was just released a matter of weeks ago. And it is from prestigious manufacturer FineMolds, which has a wonderful reputation for quality and state-of-the-art engineering and moldings, thus their name. And it's another Japanese subject. Everybody's thinking, what in the world is with all this Japanese stuff in Andy's channel? That's a good question. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they're not very popular here in the U.S. And they can be had for many cases, especially a lot of the Tamiya Japan ground self-defense quartz kits, which I've reviewed already. They can be had pretty reasonably. Now this... it's a brand new kit. You guys know FineMolds is not cheap. I did buy this from Hobby Link Japan. I actually pre-ordered it. I got the bonus photo etch set for it as well. It wasn't crazy. I think by the time I shipped it with the photo etch set, it was about $60 US, but it wasn't really that cheap either. Don't want to bore you with a lot of historical background, but I do want to share some brief history of the vehicle. The Type 61 main battle tank, or just tank back then, was a medium tank by today's standards. It was roughly 40-45 tons. It was the first post-war, Cold War era tank that the nation of Japan fielded. And what's very interesting about this vehicle is you'll notice in many regards it looks somewhat like an M47 or M48 Patton. Is they developed this tank to defeat the Russian T-34-85. They had looked at the lessons that had been learned by the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps fighting in Korea. And the Chaffee tanks and the Shermans that were originally deployed that were fighting T-34-85s learned a hard lesson fighting those tanks, because in many cases what we had was inferior to what they fielded on the battlefield. So that is the gist of this vehicle. They built a ton of these, by the way. They built something like 700 or 800 of these, which is amazing for the little tiny island nation of Japan. So what we have in the front of the box is a really attractive box art with a Type 60 APC, by the way, which I also have this kit in my stash. I may get around to doing a review of that as well. You look on the side of the box, and we have a picture of the bonus photo etch they offer. Of course, most of the FineMold stuff you're going to see that almost it's entirely in Japanese, maybe with one or two exceptions. They do advertise a neat little color set that's available in the Mr. Hobby Mr. Color range. It's a Japan Ground Self-Defense Force color set. Tamiya makes the equivalent colors as well, and I already own those. So more box art on the side here, some actual photographs of the vehicle, and some of the advertisements for some other other tanks. By the way, I was wrong. They said they built 560 of these, and they actually served all the way to the year 2000, which is pretty spectacular. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. And here's the instruction sheet and the decals. I'm going to set to the side. The decals are actually inside this. I will be opening these bags so that you guys can get a closer look. This is a rare kit. I have yet to see this for sale on any U.S. dealer's website. They may at some point, but I did want to share it with you. Let's take a look at the instructions briefly. So here we have what I presume to be a history of the Type 61 tank. You'll notice they're Sherman tanks. I remember reading Japan actually bought M4A3E8, jumbos from the U.S. government in the early 1950s as they began to rearm. And apparently the crews were too small to reach a lot of the controls, and some of the seating arrangement wasn't fit necessarily to the Japanese physique. And that was another reason why they decided they needed to develop their own tank. Unfortunately, that's all in Japanese. But this is quite possibly one of the best looking sprue maps I have ever seen. It's really detailed with parts numbers, and then of course the sprue numbers very clearly located. Now this is book style, and they are stapled. Yay, thank you for not doing what Tamiya does. So we have, as with most armored vehicle kits, we start with the lower hull and the suspension, I would get you to note, please, that the clear and concise instructions, large illustrations, easy to follow. Hint, hint, dragon. Hint, hint. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We continue with the wheels. It is link and length track so that you can appropriately model the track sag, which is nice. Construction continues. More track, attaching the fenders and the upper hull. Those are separate. That's interesting. They actually have you putting the fenders on before the upper hull. That's kind of different. And there are instructions here on where to attach some of the photo etch pieces, which is also kind of cool. And there are really beautiful little grab handles that are done in styrene and what Freddie would call plastic photo etch. The detail in this kit is amazing. It is a cast turret. This tank was equipped with the same 90mm gun that was equipped on the M47 Patton and M48 Patton tanks. So it was a great gun. It was actually a license-built copy. But I think I remember somewhere they were actually buying their ammunition from the U.S. It is a two-piece gun barrel, SI. And with that muzzle brake, that seam may be hard to get rid of. So I'm not crazy about that. The model finishes with step 25. So there's 25 steps. Looks pretty simple. There's really just going to be the one color scheme, and that's the JGSDF olive green color. But there are 4 marking versions available in the kit. I think there's some training units in here as well. So really nice, concise instructions. That's enough. I don't want to bore you completely with the instructions. So the first sprues are the running gear and the tracks. And let's go ahead and open this so you guys can take a nice, good look at these sprues. My handy dandy Swan Morton knife there. And since these sprues are identical, I'm just going to set them aside. And some really, really good looking plastic. The bolt and rivet detail on parts of these parts and the track detail is exquisite. Now, luckily, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you. You'll notice there's no ejector pin marks on these tracks. They are beautifully detailed, and thank goodness there's no rubber pads that I need to paint. The detail here, bolt and rivet detail on that drive sprocket is spectacular. The road wheels are nicely done as well. It looks like there's 2 dishes. Here we have some return rollers. You'll notice that, I don't know if these are tires. If those are tires, that's awesome because that's going to make it super easy to paint. Here is some of the plastic photo etch that I had talked about. Let me zoom back out just a little. Look at these grab handles done in styrene. That's really, really well done. And let's look at the opposite side. Yeah, that's a bummer. Now this is the run of tracks that has the sag in it that's going to set on top of the return rollers. Unfortunately, there are some ejector pin marks here. That's disappointing on a brand new kit. It's not insurmountable. I mean, it certainly can address, and you could also, it may not even be able to seat it because this is part of the track that's going to be on the top. I'm not sure I would be worried about that or not, but they're there. You'll notice there are ejector pin marks here also on the individual links. That's disappointing as well. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. You see the ejector pin marks there. That's disappointing. But other than that, the detail is, I mean, it's absolutely crisp. I mean, look at this antenna. Now, Hamilker, of course, loves his stretch sprue, but that's got to be one of the best looking antennas in styrene I have ever seen. That's beautiful. So, there are, that's the wheels and tracks. There's some suspension in that as well, and grab handles. The next sprue, or sprues I should say, because there's 2. Looks like we have some hull and other items in this sprue set. I missed the edge of the bag. How wonderful. Sorry, guys. And here it is. Here we have the upper hull and the lower hull tub. It's not a one-piece bottom. But as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and set that down for you and I'll zoom in. The detail is immaculate. The bolt and rivet detail around that front glasses plate, the driver's cutout. Look at this finely molded intake grills, and these are not solid, they're actually hollow. I mean, you can see my hand through that. You don't see that very often in styrene. There are some really nice weld beads, if you can see these here, but I'm not seeing any rolled or cast texture. I don't know if that would be appropriate. And I don't know if in 1961 it would have had non-slip or anti-skid texture on it. It probably would have had by 2000, which was the year they retired it. Look at the detail on these torsion bar. These little bolt details around these. A really nice looking access hatch or escape hatch of some kind with bolt detail around it. Really beautifully done. Okay, there's another sprue. This is back the black hole plate. We have the main drive differentials. What appear to be mufflers, driver's hatch, I'm assuming. And look at these. Look at that. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at that turn bolt. It's just beautiful. Driver's hatch, these differentials. Now this is some of the best looking molds I've seen so far. This is obviously part of the suspension system to some extent. Muffler, 2 halves, that's kind of different. Not sure where this plate goes. This is, I'm assuming, a rear access hatch, or it goes on the rear of the hull. Looks nice. Some type of maybe a fuel cap here. The detail on that is amazing. Next sprue is fenders and side skirts. There are ejector pin marks on the reverse side of this, but you're not going to see that, so that's not a problem. These fenders are almost to scale in their styrene. That's impressive. That is impressive indeed. There's some real nice, finely detailed little bolt on these fenders. And I don't know if there's texture on that or not. That's kind of hard to tell. But look at the rest of these, this plastic photo etch, as Freddie would call it. We have Pioneer equipment and pry bars, grab handles. These are just, I mean, they're beautiful. Look at that pickaxe head. That's just gorgeous. This detail is really something else. But it should be. FineMolds has a reputation for that kind of technology. And it is a top dollar kit, and I certainly understand that. So we're in our last bag of sprues here. Let's take a good look. Thank you, Mr. Sheffield. Well, I just keep missing the point to open all these every time. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry for the delay. I shoot most of these videos that I like this in one take. I don't go back and edit them. Maybe I should, but I don't. There's the decals. Some photo etch in there. And this is the bottom turret. Now, here we have some casting texture, and it is exquisite. Can you guys see this? Look at that cast texture. It's beautiful. Bottom of the turret. Top of the turret. Some more absolutely gorgeous cast texture. Beautiful. Look at the barrel. Here's that 2-part barrel. The seam on this thing is going to be a pain in the butt. Really nice canvas cover. Top of the commander's cupola. Good looking M2HB 50 caliber Browning machine gun. And nice looking canvas cover over the mantlet. I wonder if anyone makes a turn metal barrel for this kit. Once again, the parts just look exquisite. I mean, for example, look at the clasps on this box, the storage box. Look at that. That's amazing. Yeah, they're molded on there, but I mean, I think that's as good as any photo etch I've ever seen. And the last sprue, and looks like we've got a road wheel of some kind and turret bustles. Also, once again, in really fine, thin, beautifully molded styrene. No complaints at all. Another little grill, also hollowed out. Really, the parts are just amazing. So, all right. Last to look at in this kit is the decal sheet, and there's, I think, 4 or 5 different vehicles you can model. These decals are not very shiny. They do look crisp. They're very much in register. The Japanese writing looks wonderful. These are completely legible. That's really nice. They do give us a piece of rope for tow cable. You know, yawn. I hate that. Some nice looking clear parts for periscopes and vision ports and so forth. Looks like we've got some photo etch that does come with the kit. I'm not sure what those are for. Chart bustles, maybe. I did buy this as an accessory. They're a detail upset for this kit, which includes you know, engine grills, and I think there's some non-skid texture there, and I think some headlight or front light brackets. Never used any FineMolds photo etch. Guido may have. I don't know. Guido. Sorry about that. Anyway, so I've got the photo etch set for it. We'll probably use it. It doesn't look too fiddly. But I wanted to share this kit with you guys. By the way, as far as I can tell, no one else has reviewed this kit on YouTube. So this is, once again, a brand new kit. I will leave some links, as usual, up in the description box if you guys are interested in buying this kit, where you can find it on eBay. It ain't cheap. It's, you know, Tamiya level or higher, maybe even approaching Tasca or now I guess a Suka Hobby price. But as you can see, first-rate moldings, first-rate quality. Not perfect by any means, but it's definitely some of the best engineering and kit and part design that I have seen to date. So thank you very much for joining me again tonight, and I hope everyone has a great week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.